Today I'm going to help you get started on the jazz standard Blue Bossa. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, this is Jamie Holroyd helping you learn jazz guitar. Welcome to the channel. Today we're looking at Kenny Dorham's classic Blue Bossa. This is a great tune to learn if you are new to jazz guitar. Perhaps this could be your first tune, or this could be your second or third tune. If you know something else like Summertime, Autumn Leaves or Take the A Train, then this is a good choice to move on to from those jazz standards if you know them. Just before we get started, I'd like to tell you about a free beginner jazz guitar course which I have available. The course is a 62-page downloadable PDF which you can obtain by signing up to my website. The link for that is listed in the description below. You'll definitely find this useful if you're new to jazz guitar. A great way to begin learning any jazz standard is a harmonic analysis. When you perform a harmonic analysis of a tune, then you look at the key, the form, the harmony involved so that you better understand the form for memorization purposes and improvisation. So for Blue Bossa, our key signature here is C minor. A good indication of this is usually the first chord or the last chord of the song. It's not always the case, but 80% of the time that one's going to help you out. So the key for this one is C minor. The form is 16 bars long, so when jazz musicians play this, we tend to play the form round twice to get the standard 32 bars. The tune begins on the one chord, C minor. We have 2 bars of C minor before moving to the 4 chord of the key, F minor, in bars 3 and 4. Following that, we've got a 2-5-1 in C minor there. We've got the D minor 7 flat 5 for 1 bar, G7 and then C minor for 2 bars. Beyond that, we have a 2-5-1 in a major key. Here we're going up a semitone. So far we're really in the key of C minor. We've had 1 in C minor, going up to 4 in C minor, then 2-5-1 in C minor. So we're going up a semitone, and this time we've got a major 2-5-1. We've got a 2-5-1 in the key of D flat. So that's E flat minor 7, A flat 7 and D flat major 7 for 2 bars. So when you're memorizing this, you want to think 1 chord for 2 bars, 4 chord of the key for another 2 bars, 2-5-1 in the 1 chord, then 2-5-1 up a semitone to the major. I know that's a lot of fast forward thinking, but if you break that down and go slowly, thinking about harmony in terms of Roman numerals and movements like that will, number one, help you to retain the knowledge better rather than on a chord by chord basis, but it will also help you to quickly share the harmonic information, right? You know, I'm assuming that you can know what your 2-5-1s are, so therefore you can pick this up with me as I go through the harmony to this song, rather than saying it's C minor in bars 1 and 2, F minors in bar 3 and 4. That would take much longer, and it would be a much more longer piece of cumbersome information. Following the 2-5-1 in D flat, we've got a 2-5-1 back to the home key of C minor. That's the last 4 bars of the music there. D minor 7 flat 5 again, G7 and C minor 7. So that's the entire form. As you can see, most of it really is in C minor, and there's just a small section of the music that goes up a semitone for the 2-5-1 in D flat major 7. I suggest that you memorize this using some easy chords that you already know and easy rhythms. We don't have to do specific bossa rhythms just yet. You could just play basic easy jazz chords, which are covered in my beginner jazz guitar book if you don't have that already, which is free to download, just to help you kind of know what's going on before getting too bogged down with a more complex rhythm. Next, we are going to look at comping over Blue Bossa using a traditional bossa nova rhythm. Let's get into it. This comping etude demonstrates the bossa nova comping style. There is basically a 2-bar rhythm which is repeated throughout the etude. The rhythm basically starts with 2 quarter notes, then we've got and a 3 and a 4, The second bar we have and of 1, and of 2 and beat 4. This is repeated throughout the entire comping etude. This is a really solid bossa nova comping pattern that you can use on any bossa nova tunes such as Wave or Girl from Ipanema. I'll demonstrate the 2-bar sequence over a C minor 9 chord. That's what's going on. The chord voicing I'm using, like I just said, is a C minor 9. So I've got my root there, 3rd fret of the A string. Index is on the E flat there, the 1st fret of the D string. And I like to bar across the B flat and the D there on the 3rd fret of the G and B. Some people like to play this chord this way though, using individual fingers for each note of the chord. The main thing is that you keep the bass note changing from the root of the chord to the 5th. So halfway through the bar we go from the root to the 5th. So it's worth doing that a few times. So at tempo, this is how that rhythm sounds. This will work really well when you're playing with other guitar players and maybe a singer, but you might have to be careful if you're playing that comping rhythm with a bass player. Maybe you might have to play it without the bass note so that you don't get in the bass player's way. Once you can do that, you just move the same chord up a 4th to F minor and repeat the same pattern. When you get to a D minor 7 flat 5, I just keep this as having the root there played twice, so you get this effect. The flat 5 sounds a little bit funky as a bass line, so that's why I keep just a D root note going there. So same thing with G7 flat 13. And then back to C minor 9. When we go to the 2-5-1 in D flat, same thing again, only this time we basically have bar 1 of the clave repeated in the 2-5-1, so you get this effect. Once more. The variation comes back when we hit that second bar of D flat. Towards the end, we basically have the same type of effect where we've got the 1-bar clave rhythm repeated for the 2-5-1 in C minor. So by now you should be comfortable with the harmony of the song. You should be able to comp over this in some way, shape or form. So the next thing that we're going to do in this starter pack is look at improvising over this. I've written out a solo to show you, so let's check out how to improvise over Blue Bossa. The solo begins with a single line run over C minor, which sounds like this. We're starting on the raised 7th there, the B natural, and then we're approaching the root of the chord. And then we're having some accented notes on the 5th, and we've got a little motif that goes down there and finishes on the tonic. Beyond that, over F minor, we're addressing this by looking at 2 different triads. The run sounds like this. The basic triad shapes there are an F triad and also a C minor triad. The F triad is approached from the root again. So is the C minor triad. And then we're just going down chromatically to finish on A flat, which is the third of the F minor 7. Beyond that, we're going into a 2-5-1 in C minor. This line starts with a little enclosure figure, which pulls us back to the note which it started on. So we're starting on F, which is the third of D minor 7 flat 5. Coming back to that, and then we've got a little descending harmonic minor figure, which resolves to the 5th of C minor, then to the 9th, and then finally to the 5th again. So that entire minor 2-5-1 run sounds like this. Next we have the 2-5-1 in D flat. This entire phrase really comes from a D flat major scale, but we're focusing on the guide tones in each chord to bring out the sound of each chord more. So the phrase sounds like this. Now we're starting there on the B flat, going up a 4th to get to the E flat, then we've got a scalic passage, and then we're going to the 5th of the A flat 7, then the 3rd from a semitone above, then we're going to the A flat, to the 2nd, back to the A flat, to the 5th, and then we've got an A flat which resolves to the 3rd of D flat, and then finally the tonic of D flat. So the line slowly sounds like this. And I'm just making that last note by shifting my index finger back so that I've got the pinky free to grab that high D flat note. The final phrase of the solo comes from a 2-octave C harmonic minor scale. If you need a scale reference for this, then this is the scale that you can use. The phrase sounds like this. As you can hear, there's a very clear descending diminished pattern that's emerging from that. It starts on the A flat, then the F natural, then the D natural, then the B, and resolves to E flat, which is the flat third of C minor. I hope that you found this video useful. One thing that I haven't included in this starter pack is the melody. So if you don't know the melody, I highly recommend learning the melody. Then you can actually perform the song with friends at a gig or at a jam session. It's quite an easy melody to work out by ear, and I think that this is the best way to do it. To really get the proper articulations and delivery of the melody, go back and listen to the original recording. The original recording with Joe Henderson is absolutely beautiful. I think that this song sometimes gets a bad rep because it's played by amateur or beginner jazz musicians, but the original recording is fantastic. Pat Martino has got a great recording of this one as well, so don't forget to check out the recordings by the masters to get some inspiration when working on this tune. If you did enjoy this lesson, then please subscribe to this channel, and like I said, if you're new to jazz, then you really want to go and get that beginner jazz guitar ebook as well to take these concepts further. Thanks for watching.